We're fine.
Bruh.
It's the Catechin. Kentucky falls 78-65 to the Tennessee Volunteers, bringing an end to the 24-25 season in Mark Pope's inaugural season. In a calendar year, Mark Pope brought back an apathetic fan base back to the point where we're able to experience pain again. And to quote every unoriginal hack posting on your high school yearbook, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Fellas, how we feeling?
I mean, not great. Season's over, and that's tough. Especially given the makeup of this team, losing seven of these guys that we've grown to really appreciate over the course of this year. And to see how losing affected them was kind of touching. So that was really not very fun. Sweet 16 was great, beat my expectations. Losing to the Vols, not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, losing sucks. If you would have told me that this is where we would have ended up, meta, I would have been very happy with this season. But even when you go further than that, like looking back, I mean, we went to Atlanta, we watched them beat Duke, who's probably going to win the whole freaking thing. Um, we saw them, beat the Vols twice. Where they came like through injuries, yada yada, all this stuff. I think Mark Pope, like he really like he did the revival stuff, the renaissance for the fan base. All of the media has been great. The players just buying into the pageantry of the whole program has been great. But I think the most impressive thing was he put this team together in like 2 weeks of guys who are all just going to be adored forever, and also who all represent an archetype that's going to be how we judge or how we categorize players going forward. So it's like, who do we need in the Andrew Carr spot? Who do
Right.
we need in the Ainsley spot? Who do we need in the Amari spot? Who's going to be our butler? Like, though, that is who these guys are, and that's really cool. And it took a lot of like a big leap of faith, I think, for a lot of these dudes to do what they did and just kind of jump into literally never happened before. There's never been a team with 0 returning minutes make it past the first round ever. So it was a historic season, very fun. I'm excited to consume all of the content, and we got a lot of stuff coming up. But yeah, today I just want to like give the boys their flowers. It was great. It was a good season.
The only thing that kind of stinks is that this does also kind of turn into a what if year of what if Jackson doesn't get hurt? What if we're not missing Lamont Butler for an extended period of time? Because watching the Tennessee game, it was clear that we needed another guy out there that can just sort of put the ball in the basket, especially when they were hedging so hard on Kobe Brea. The strength of the team was you could play off the threat of Kobe Brea and Jackson Robinson. And when you have a good defensive team like Tennessee, just able to zero in on Kobe like that, and it just seemed like we couldn't buy a basket. Could have really used Jackson there, and that's what kind of stinks about the season is we weren't at full strength, and it seemed like we were playing a high wire act for a lot of the closing games. Still overwhelmingly positive feelings towards the season. Kentucky basketball is fun again. I'm fully invested, and it feels like we have a coach who really cares and you could tell that no matter how we felt about how the season lost, like he's definitely feeling it the hardest. And you guys saw the Lamont Butler picture of Pope hugging him at the end. Like that's what Kentucky basketball is about, man. Just two guys who really, really care. And
I don't know if you saw the video leading up to that picture,
I'd
but
rather
it was
not.
actually, I mean, in the picture, it looks like Pope's consoling Lamont, but really, Lamont came up from behind and kind of grabbed Pope and started consoling him first. It was
Man.
funny from that still, it looks the other way, and obviously it was tough on Lamont too. And really all these guys, I mean, they were crushed in a way that makes me think they really bought in. And to have a coach that can build that kind of culture and buy-in from all of these parties so quickly is huge. not one of these guys had been here for years, had any relationship with the fan base other than I guess the Kentucky guys who at least knew what it was about. But
Is that Walker Horner Rager? Sounds like that's Walker
well,
Horner
no,
Rager.
he's a Kentucky guy.
Oh, fair. I guess
That's
what also
super what
seems
I meant.
funny
I definitely didn't forget about him.
is that they were all great guys. Like I
Yeah.
really wanted this for them, maybe even more than me. Like it just
Yes.
seemed like they were all just really solid dudes, and I wanted them to keep playing together because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, Lamont was Superman. I mean, he went 4 for 5 from 3. His arm is hanging off. I mean, he was like giving it every bit, and you can tell he is Lamarche Superman. You know, it's like the what if would drive me nuts too. But I don't look at the rearview mirror. No, but Kobe, I think, what really killed me is I think Kobe Bryant might be my like I want to be him when I grow up type player, like that kind of player since Malik Monk probably. Like just top to bottom, fun to watch, fun to listen to, interviews, just rep it.
He makes me want to do my taxes. He's on all those TurboTax ads.
Yeah. And then we got like right, well, we were sitting here now with the knowledge that Tennessee still hasn't been to a Final Four, which is nice.
I hope so.
I do think we would have probably got crushed by Houston. Houston looked ridiculous tonight.
Oh, dude, watching Alabama play Duke, like
yeah.
there's zero chance we're beating either of those two.
Yeah,
right.
Zero.
Yeah, the top 4 seeds this year have ironed themselves into a separation. So next weekend should be a lot of good basketball. It'll be exciting to watch. I do think for me, I mean, this next week is going to be like portal already. I mean, we're already seeing it.
Shout out Cam Williams.
Shout out Cam Williams.
Just real quick before we leave the Houston thing, their record is crazy. They have 4 losses, 5 points to Auburn, overtime 5 points to Alabama, overtime 3 points to San Diego State, overtime 1 point to Texas Tech. So 3 of their 4 losses are Elite 8 teams by under 5 points. 3 of them overtime. I mean, it's really pretty wild.
Yeah.
They haven't lost since February 1.
Yeah,
And other than that, they hadn't lost since November 30. They are so good.
Sheesh. Yeah, let them win it. Let Kelvin Sampson get his flowers. He's earned it. He's been in the game a long time.
That would be so sick. I don't want literally anybody else to win.
No.
But it would also be kind of satisfying from a Indiana rivalry perspective to see them going through like a long, stressful coaching search while the coach they fired is just having a phenomenal season.
He got in trouble
for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget what he did.
I think he was like texting recruits, which seems like
he?
a silly punishment, but like why is bro texting high schoolers? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, Todd.
I'm leaving that in.
But yeah, it's also kind of nuts that we did beat half of the Final Four. So that's sad.
I had the record, I think, for most top 15 wins.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We had a lot of really good memories on this. I think that the foundation and the framework that Mark Pope obviously wants to implement, like that he's going to be able to sell, is there, which is nice. And
yeah, we have the concept.
And
it's
also
bro.
We have the concepts of a plan to maybe also to sell boosters on, right? Like, look what we did. Like, there's so many data points to point back at to say, look, if we can, get this metric to here, imagine if we had, this piece and this piece, pony up a little bit, and the sky's the limit. Also, there's not going to be these super seniors around next year. Thank God. Because that's an entire year of should be junior software engineers or junior accountants that are still in the freaking. It's like this whole pool that it's going to be gone. So I don't think it's going to be as I think that the talent in college basketball is going to kind of normalize a little bit across, because there's not going to be this whole extra class of very, very experienced guys, like Mark Sears, Ziegler. Like, these types of dudes are just not going to be in the game anymore.
Except Chad Baker-Mazara, who is going to be kicked off his parents' insurance and still playing.
And probably Kirk Risa, who may not be a Kentucky Wildcat, but I hope he's still in college basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll cheer for him wherever he goes, as long as it's
yeah.
not one of the schools that are just.
But wouldn't it be very Kerr for him to go to? Wouldn't it be?
No, it
very
would.
Kerr?
It would.
And even a part of me would reluctantly respect that. If he just went to Louisville.
I think that he should go to if he went to St. John's or something, that'd be pretty sick.
That'd be sweet.
I think Pitino would hate his guts though.
Yeah, that's oil and water right there, right?
Yeah.
And another thing I think was good about the way the season turned out, and then we kind of touched on this, is not only can Pope pitch, hey, look what we did given what we had, but he also kind of showed off his talent evaluation and roster building chops. And so if he says, hey, I need this money to go get a center from Drexel, boosters aren't going to say really Drexel, because they've seen what that can be.
Right.
You know, Ansley's role was kind of carved out, but he was a dude from Fairleigh Dickinson who was going to go to Siena, and he can say, look, I identified this guy, or rather Santoro identified this guy. We think it's a piece, and boosters will believe him because he's proven that he has the ability to identify what he needs to make his system work.
Oh yeah, even Otega Owe wasn't one of the more highly regarded guys in the portal last year. Pope brings him in, and now if Otega comes back next year, would any of us be surprised if he were the preseason favorite for SEC Player of the Year?
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of that. Like, I think there are probably receipts on almost every player other than like Brea and Jackson Robinson, who people knew were good, but people doubted Amari's ability to translate up. They doubted Otega coming over from Oklahoma. They doubted Lamont Butler's offensive game. And it all worked.
Yeah, and we had 2 weeks. Like, he did this in like 2 weeks. And all the personalities because this is like a very specifically, like, you can't just throw talent into this system and hope that it works. It's like you have to get guys that you evaluate their aptitude as well. And he did that because, I mean, there's like 3 assistant coaches probably on this roster right now. Like, he nailed it. And I absorbed all of that content post game. Just, I don't want to take my shoes off. Whoever gets the jerseys, they're gonna have trouble getting mine. All that stuff. It was just like, dang, got something in my throat, just.
What a great foundation team to have with this group of guys. Like, this is really something you can build on. They really, really showed what Mark Pope and this staff were capable of doing when they reached like the really high highs of this season. Unfortunately, they have their old brittle, bones from being transfer guys. But
also the SEC just let everybody knife fight through the entire conference. So
the question is it is the foundation, but do you think that this is the floor? Like, do you think that each subsequent season could be better than this one now that we have this to build off of?
I don't know that I think this is the floor. I mean, I think that I obviously, like I just said, he can identify the talent he needs and the pieces that he needs to fit. But I think he didn't miss on anybody. And sometimes you're going to miss. That's just the reality of it. the people who are professionals at this, the people that are ranking the guys in the portal, the coaches that are really good. They just miss sometimes. And so that could happen. I don't think that's necessarily an indictment of your ability to um, build your roster. It's just a
Barely did
fact.
it this year.
You're right. Another thing I think is maybe more helpful is that the only guy that had played for Pope before was obviously Jackson. And he committed at the beginning of the season to being a translator to help other people understand the system, know what it feels like to be doing it the right way. Well, next year we have, assuming we get these guys back, 5. I guess I'm assuming Kerr leaves, but 5. Uh, and that'll be huge. That's so many more guys who can help other people pick it up faster, who aren't going to have to uh, they'll probably have to adapt. The team's going to be different. There isn't another Amari out there. We talk about who's going to fill the Amari role, but also you need to talk about how that role changes from year to year as you get guys that have different strengths and weaknesses and whatever.
Right. It could definitely be
But
like a stretch 4, right? Sitting in that same.
yeah. But you at least have more guys that can help explain this is how it should feel. This is what you need to be doing. This is the read you should make. That'll be huge, I think.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Brandon Garrison comes back? That seems to be the one that's up in the air, right? Because I think
hope so. I hope so. Personality, also communication. Like his interviews are always very fun to watch. He communicates exactly what he's thinking perfectly. Now, it's not like the most, profound shit that he says, but it's every single time it just nails it. And I love that. But I do think we need another guy. I don't think that I don't really want him running the offense.
well,
Right. Go ahead.
I was thinking mine's kind of goes off of that one. So if you want to go ahead, we can come back to me.
No, I agree. I think it's. I mean, he showed flashes, right? I mean, he's obviously a talented guy. There's stuff he's good at, but there are also areas he struggles, and it isn't necessarily fair to compare him to Amari because Amari was so good. We're gonna miss him tremendously, no matter who we get. His passing was good. His defense was good. His rebounding was excellent. His decision making was, I mean, awesome. He got to the line a ton. He drew a ton of foul. I mean, great. And so to compare
He
BG
got
to
better
him,
at shooting free throws.
yeah.
Yeah.
So to compare BG to him is tough. But I think a lot of what BG does is going to depend on who we bring in and what role he's willing to accept. Like maybe I'm comfortable with him being there if we have a playmaking 4 who can defend really well. And can cover up some of his weaknesses a little bit. Or maybe we bring in another 5 and BG's okay with that role, but that role is going to be smaller because he'll also be sharing it with Malachi. Whereas this year he gets all of the backup 5 minutes. Next year, if he's not the starter, his role actually is going to shrink. So I guess it depends on just how comfortable he is with the role that's going to be available for him.
That is what I was thinking because we are in on the Magoon kid from San Diego State. At least that's the word on the street. And if we're in on him and we already have Malachi coming in next year, I don't really see how this fits with 3 centers. So I don't know if that means like writing's on the wall or if that's a contingency plan for if Brandon Garrison leaves. That's kind of a high end guy to be going for as a contingency plan, at least from what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
but
it'll be interesting.
Brandon Garrison coming back with another season under his belt, I feel like, because we're Kentucky fans, we're not used to seeing progression year to year from guys, whether it's because they leave for the NBA or we have a coaching staff who were what they were in terms of progressing players. But I would be interested to see what, especially Brandon Garrison, who has the upside that he has, coming back for another year under this staff. Even if it's not as a playmaking role, which by the way, I think he's underrated as a passer, if anything. comparing him to Amari is incredibly unfair to him because Amari is
Right.
elite in terms of that. But even if you bring in a playmaking 4, and now you can have Brandon Garrison either stretching out the floor, which he's shown that he's capable of doing, or just having him in the dunker spot, which is not something that we really utilized a lot this year.
I'll say
He's
this.
also
He's
big, which is nice. I don't know. We don't have much big.
I spent a lot of time filtering through like all D1 players or all centers, trying to find someone that could kind of fill Amari's shoes a little bit. So I've got a filter on their assist rate above whatever, rebounding rate above whatever, height at whatever. And it's shocking how small those lists were and how many times I had to revise my assist rate down or my rebound rate down just to find anyone. But also shocking how many times Brandon Garrison was on that very short list of guys that like kind of match it. And his game isn't the same, and obviously he's not the playmaker Amari is. He's not the rebounder quite yet. But it scares me as I'm trying to find someone else that can fit neatly into that role, how few options there are, and that BG is seemingly one of them.
We talked about this midway through the season of next year. We're going to start running into some problems, which is, hey, let's bring in another Amari type, or let's bring in another Kobe Brea type. And it's just those guys don't exist. Like we brought in some really special players this year.
Well, I think the Kobe Brea type that we have is going to be named Carlton Chandler.
Yeah.
Like
that step
Kobe
back.
Brea type.
That step back at the end of the first half, ice cold.
It was nasty. Yeah. He's got like a very, very high release, high arch, which frustrates the hell out of like long wing defenders, because I mean they were in his face, but he's still 2 feet over shot block. So I feel like that's literally like that is the Kobe Brea, right? Like because Kobe Brea is. I don't know what's going on. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
can now. I couldn't for a second.
Yeah,
it's like I think my mic messed up, and now it's using my headset. But all right, whatever. Kobe Brea isn't at the end of the year wasn't what Kobe Brea was to be recruited as.
Yep,
he wasn't just a sharpshooter. He moved, and he was very important defensively. I think his improvement defensively might correlate very strongly with the overall team's performance defensively, because that was a hole at the beginning of the season. But if we can get, some more length on the wings, and we can find somebody who can play that. Brandon Garrison is big, almost 7 foot, right? What is he? 6'10", 6'11"?
Yeah, 6'11", I think.
Yeah. There's very few requirements to being a big in the SEC, and strong in 6'11" is one of them. So and that's hard. There's not that many of them. I don't know. Yeah, I want to keep BG. And also, when he shoots a 3, I know that we're going to win if it hits.
Well, length on the perimeter, we got that coming in with Cam Williams, and I'm very excited. Very excited for him.
His shot
is unbelievable.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very excited. And I'm sure by like midweek we're going to have a very good idea, because we're trying to beat this house settlement whatever implementation. We're going to have a very good idea what the roster is going to look like next year. Also, Trent Noah is going to be 3-4 inches taller next year, at least.
Probably.
Easily.
Sounds about right. Easily. Yeah.
Travis is going to be assistant coach Travis / hopefully a 2 or a 3, not a 1. That's my hope, is that we can use him more to his physical strengths, which is shooting the shit out of the ball. Like he did against Tennessee both times we played them in the regular season. Those, it's just like we didn't have, at a certain point, we were so bereft of point guard, that we needed to have somebody who could break a press and get across before the 10 seconds was up. And he was the only other one. Because,
I'm finding
Well-
myself growing frustrated with the Travis Perry narrative forming around, because I fell into it this season where I was saying we can't be playing Travis Perry in these tournament games because he has a tough time, keeping up with the athleticism, and until he learns how to use his body in order to stop that, like, he's not going to have the pure athleticism to stay in front of these guys. So you just gotta kind of learn the tricks of the trade there. I mean, Aaron Kraft did it 10 years ago. Why can't, Travis Perry figure it out? But for some reason that seems to have taken from there. I'm not saying I started that. I'm saying people had that train of thought where it's now Travis Perry is bad. And that's not what I agree with at all.
No.
I accept a player for who they are at the time. I'm sure the coaching staff does this, and you figure out how to put them in a position where they can succeed. But now we have an offseason where Travis Perry can also progress and get better as a player, and I'm
and
sure
bigger.
he will. Yeah,
He is going to get bigger. Yes.
Yeah, and we'll see how he looks next year. And what the thing is that you're not asking Travis Perry to be a starter. You're asking him to be your 11th man, your 12th man. Ben, I know.
Yeah,
have
well,
this more
yeah,
than me.
that's my big frustration. It's, he can't play. Well, he wasn't supposed to this year. He was supposed to be a victory cigar. That's offensive to him, I'm sure, and that's not how I intended it. But
It's a
he
rich
knew
man.
coming in, especially when he was coming in under Cal, who said, "I'm not going to play you," and he said, "I'm coming anyway." He knew he was going to be the 11th, 12th man. And then just due to our injury situation where we lose PG1, lose PG2, lose our backup PG3 in Jackson, we had to rely on him. And yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't ideal. But it also wasn't, I mean, it
Guys
didn't
threw a
scream to
gauntlet.
me, this is never going to work.
Right.
It's obviously not the role we want for him. And like next year, assuming he comes back, I hope he's PG5. I hope he's behind whoever we bring in to be PG1, behind a Caden, behind Chandler, and behind Jasper even. But to say that he doesn't have a spot on this roster, especially as scholarship limit goes up to 15, to wish Travis Perry away and not be saying the same thing about Walker Horn, and not to single out Walker Horn, but like it just
Right.
if you're
Perry is better than Walker
If you're
Horn,
saying
though.
Travis
Like,
needs to leave, you've got to find me 4 guys better than Travis, and we're getting rid of the walk-ons and
Well,
Travis and replacing it with all 4 of those guys that are willing to take that role.
Yep.
Show me guys that bring more value, because he obviously is very, very, very intimately familiar with the system, or Mark Pope wouldn't have made him the point guard when he did in the SEC. Like, there was like five years ago, Denver lost like their top 3 quarterbacks, and there was this wide receiver that had to play quarterback one game.
Yep.
Can you imagine being like, we lost that game, he's got to go?
Right.
Yep.
When he's like a kick returner,
Like, I'd say this, like, is Travis Perry, is he a starting SEC point guard? No, of course not. Is he even in the top half of like backup SEC point guards? Probably not. But would he be the best 12th or 13th man on any team in the country? Probably.
Yes.
Probably. So
He's
also,
not a make-a-wish.
I really
He's a
think
top 80 guy.
yeah,
he also can shoot, and like if he's given a position where he's going to be catching corner threes, catch and shoot, he could be dagger. Like asking him to bring the ball up, maybe, hopefully, we're not in that position again. We had to be in that position this year, but he is a ridiculous shooter. And all you have to, if you think you were smarter about that than Kobe Brea, then be my guest, I guess. But Kobe Brea seems to think that Travis Perry can shoot the shit out of the ball. And is there somebody else you would trust with evaluating the ability to shoot at the college level than Kobe Brea? Probably not.
Listen, it's a scientific fact he's growing 3 inches this offseason.
That's exactly
And
right.
if there's anything we know is that past performance indicates future performance. So if he's gaining 3 this offseason, then he likely gains 3 next offseason. Then that season, we slide him into the Ansley Almanor role and we cook.
That's true.
And the
Hope's in
following
Big
year,
Ten
he could be
place.
our center.
There you go.
Yes. He's gonna have the LeBron James, like he's gonna have a PG, a PF, a SG, and a center player card.
We're gonna talk about him. We're gonna talk about him in the way we talk about Anthony Davis, who grew really tall and retained some guard skills.
Yeah. Oh shit.
He's already got the Cooper Flag hair. Like
That is true.
He's on his Cooper Flag arc right now.
He doesn't sweat enough, though. I think that's the
Cooper
that's the
Flag.
problem.
I've never seen a human being sweat as much as Cooper Flag. I mean, that literally lost them the game against us.
Yeah,
How much he slipped and slided on that
and
floor.
Clemson.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
I think Noah is gonna. I do think he's gonna grow, but that's because he has like he still got the baby fat on his face, and I know, red skinned. When you run and your face, and your face gets red. I know, like those are my people, right? Like those Eastern Kentucky people. Like there's a bunch of them in this book right here.
Bunch of rosy-cheeked menaces.
A bunch of rosy-cheeked hillbillies.
Yeah.
And they hit their final growth spurt in their late teens, early 20s. I'm just saying, imagine 6'9" Trent Noah.
Hot.
Yeah.
Dude's freaking jacked from being in the gym all off season.
Yeah.
No, I am excited
Did you see the interview with Trent in the locker room after the game the other day? I don't know that I've ever seen an interview with someone who just didn't want to be on camera like that. I mean, dude was miserable. It was a tough watch.
You have to feel evil, right? Going into the locker room after a tourney loss. There's one team out of 300 and however many. There's one team that ends the season with a W. And it's very, very sad.
Unless you win the crown.
What's the crown?
It's the new tournament. I think it starts tomorrow, maybe.
God.
They're replacing the NIT.
It stole all of the high majors from the NIT. The NIT is almost exclusively mid majors this year.
Yeah. Still, even going into a W from the crown, it's probably pretty rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine being a reporter and going and like just everybody's yelling over each other for these dudes who just like want to take a shower and cry. But they gotta like look at your fucking dusty ass. 33. Timestamp. I think I said the F word. I'll have to beat that one out.
Well, fellas, altogether, I mean, A season at least. I'd give him an A.
Yeah.
Team thrown together last minute.
Best conference of all time.
I think especially considering the injuries. I mean, we beat my expectations. And I was pretty high on Pope. I was high on the guys he brought in, and even considering that, beat my expectations. And that's even with season-ending injuries to probably guys, 1 and 6 on our. If you're. Yeah. I mean, Jack, especially at the end there, Jackson was playing awesome. His last couple games, he was like greater than 50% from 3, averaging 18 or something a game. And to see him go out, I feel like he'd started defending better using his length. So even with the injuries, and Carr didn't miss many games, but he was injured for quite a while and not himself. Lamont's probably could have been season-ending. I mean, it's actually unbelievable what they accomplished and the wins that they had, and how quickly I grew to really Love this team.
Highlights of the year got to be beating Duke, the Gonzaga comeback, Lamont Butler against Louisville, beating Tennessee at Tennessee, beating them in
Beating
Rupp,
Florida.
beating Florida, huge.
So Florida was huge.
At Mississippi State, not Ole Miss, definitely not Ole Miss.
Well,
Texas
Ole
A&M
Miss,
at Rupp,
bloody hand, post blood hand.
yeah. Amari triple
Oklahoma,
double.
both Oklahoma games.
Oh yeah.
Colin
They got
Chandler,
it.
Tyler Ulis, blood on the face.
Yep.
Where a foul wasn't called because they said there wasn't contact.
Remember the Colin Chandler full court pass between the legs? Favorite play of the year right there.
That was, I forgot about that. Golly. There's going to be a lot of stuff to look back on. Oh, well, we did. So the nickname in all the prints, Swish Guard. We have to call him the Swish Guard.
Love it.
I think I will
Because
remember this team forever.
They protect the Pope.
Exactly. And they swish. And they guard.
Well, fellas, any closing thoughts on the season? I'm sure maybe we'll try to get back together late this week, try to go over some of the transfer portal stuff. Maybe we'll make a transfer portal wish list, guys. Maybe we'll try to get some of these transfers on the show. I just know that our off season is going to be completely unhinged. And thank you, everybody, for watching this season. And hey, guys, just want to say this season has been so much fun, in large part thanks to this channel, getting to hang out with the three of you guys. Been having a blast. And that brings the Catechin season 1 also to a close. And now we're going into our chaos arc.
Yes.
And don't we have a foot bet?
Shit. Yeah, I need to do a photo shoot.
Yeah.
I only got one of my toes, one of my feet painted so far. It took way longer than I thought. Painting your toes is not easy.
It's not that
very
bad.
hard.
Yeah,
I'm not flexible enough, I think. I had a Charlie horse in my hip that almost made me paint the rest of my floor in blue. So I'll get a photo shoot ready. We need to hit the socials. And we can put them on the socials. We'll blur them out until you click them. Like the OnlyFans girls or whatever on Twitter.
There we go.
Like Ben. Yeah.
I don't know what happened to my
camera. Was that not on purpose?
No, it just.
Oh, that was wonderfully timed.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah. Frosted glass.
Also, we'll have this summer Catechin covering the Peach Jam.
Mm-hmm.
Might get Pope on the show.
Dude, that would be so sick. I did put a bid in for a Pope signed jersey on eBay, so everybody wish me luck.
Good luck. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for watching the Catechin. For Jared, for Blurry Ben, and for Kale, go Cats.
Go Cats.